All right, 3 o'clock. So I want to play some sound for you. Wolverine related, college football, playoff. Obviously, the rankings came out last night. There's no drama. You and OSU, you're going to be 2-3, 3-2. It doesn't matter. You're going to play your damn game. But I've said for weeks now, loser of that game's out. And I know that upsets some people, but I don't really care because here are the facts. The Big Ten's a joke, and your schedule's the joke of the Big Ten. And Ohio State ain't much better. Now, what might save OSU is the fact that they played Notre Dame, and as much as people got on Marcus Freeman and wanted him thrown out and questioned him, weird. Kind of weird how that happens to a minority coach. But my point is, Notre Dame has turned it around.
Probably coaches a bunch of thugs.
Uh-oh. So the point is, yes, nothing better, nothing like casual racism by college football coverage. But my thing is, the Notre Dame win is just infinitely better than anything you can present in your non-con. And the fact is, Penn State being the third best team in the Big Ten, both of you beat them, and OSU, wait for it, went on the road and did it. Wasn't a work of art, that's for damn sure. But here's the point. I've just believed it for weeks, but it's weird when the media says it. So ESPN, Heather Dinich, and also Reese Davis. David, you could play the sound, whatever order you like. Intro it, because here's what it comes down to, guys. Who cares what I think? I want to know what your mindset is going into this game. Do you accept if you lose, you're out?
Yeah.
Do you want to fight it? Do you want to make a case to the contrary? What I'm not going to do is mental gymnastics where you need 6 things to happen.
Yeah.
I don't want to play that game.
And that was crosstalk with Gator. He's like, no, it's possible if this happens and this happens and this happens. Like, and yes, if I put $2 down on the Powerball, I can win it hypothetically. But chances are probably not.
Right, and by the way, I'd still leave Ohio State out if they lose. So I'm making a point that they would have a better case. I am not going to be the one to make it. That's how little I think of the Big Ten this year. Win the game, go, play. But the rest of this conference, tell me, Michigan fan, if it is true or false, it has felt like one spring game after another. That's what this Big Ten is. It's horrible. David, give me the sound.
Yeah, this is Paul Feinbaum and Heather Dinich having the discussion on Get Up this morning.
And Reese Davis talked about it as well. I don't know if we have that, but it doesn't matter. The general premise is, do you accept the notion that it's winner take all a little more than a week from now? I do. I'd be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Michigan State's been in that spot before. I don't have any problems with it. I wonder where you're at. Because to me, may I remind you, I was the only human picking you last year, and I'm leaning on doing it again. I don't put Ohio State on a pedestal. I don't know that Jackson Smith and Jigba's going to play. And very kind of under the radar, the run D has started to regress. We can get to that show. I'm sure we'll be doing it a week from today. But the point is, I don't want to build in excuses. Go win the damn game. And if you don't, sorry, go enjoy the Rose Bowl. And I'd say the same for Ohio State. So I want to hear from Michigan fans on it.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any backdoor that a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know what, you could still, no, because if you're hoping on that, to me, that's saying you don't think you're going to win the game. Just win and you're in, because if you're going to start looking for help, I don't think that enough carnage will happen to put you in, because you would need USC to lose, you would need TCU to lose, you would probably.
Yeah, but see, both of those can happen. TCU losing, they've got 5 ranked wins. Your resume is incomparable.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. If TCU only loses 1 game, they can still make an argument. They play more ranked teams. Now, Michigan has a bigger brand. So this is when we find out, are they taking the best? It's kind of like the Heisman. Are you taking the best team, or are you taking the bigger brand?
The whole see, when the B word comes into it, I lose interest. Like March Madness is a cash grab, and I've grown to be okay with it. But at least March Madness, your resume matters. At least March Madness, there's still room for basketball. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is. You start talking B word when it comes to a 4-team playoff, you lose me. Huh? You just lose me.
And the other team that, if they win their conference title, because they said that conference title means something, and they have a brand, Clemson. Now, they lost to Notre Dame. They got blown out by Notre Dame. But if that's their only loss and they're the ACC champion and they're a former national champion.
It's Notre Dame on the road at night.
I understand. But one
No, I'm
loss
saying
and
they
they're
played the game.
Right. But if you lose and there's a conference champion with one loss from the ACC, you don't think they're not getting
if
in?
Michigan didn't buy their way out of the UCLA game, you wouldn't have a problem.
You're right.
If Michigan didn't bail on UW and State took that game, we don't have this conversation.
Right.
So it is what it is.
I need Michigan fans to stop looking for the parachute.
That's
Stop
what
looking for the
that's all
parachute.
they do, and that's all their media does for them.
Win the game, period.
Right.
If you don't win the game, so sorry you
And
don't get
David,
in.
David, the worst part is if I'm a Michigan fan, I'm expecting, I'm not hoping, I'm expecting to go to Columbus and win that game. What's there to hide from?
Correct. And I'll say this because non-con schedule, it was horrible, okay? We all know it was pathetic, but
Just wait for next year.
outside of that, yeah, Michigan fans should be upset about the Big Ten, the rest of the Big Ten, because it's so bad. That's how the SEC can say, you know what? If we lose, we can still get in. You know why? Because their schedule is superior in conference, period. You're playing monster schedules.
Right. And remember, it's set up already. Well, I guess the ACC championship game's already set. It's Clemson versus
North Carolina.
North Carolina. You beat North Carolina, who happens to be a top 10 team at that time, your conference champion, you could steal a bid. If chaos happens, they get in over the one-loss Big Ten team. So if USC loses, TCU loses.
Look, and I do think Ohio State and Michigan are unfortunate victims of the worst Big Ten in maybe a quarter of a century. Now, that is not their fault, but it is their reality. Both schools. You know, the Big Ten West, Rico's made this point, and I think it's as sharp as it gets. For most of this year, Illinois, top 15. Illinois will have lost all three of their crossovers, including giving Indiana its only Big Ten win in 2 years, and they're firing their coach. Michigan State, who everyone has made fun of.
-8 suspended players.
Right, and then they're going to
At home.
I think they're going to get they're going to get the brakes beaten off on Saturday. So, it's not your fault, but it's the reality. And for years, we sit up here on our perch in the Big Ten and make fun of the Big 12 or the ACC. Well, guess what?
Can't do it this year.
Now you needed to be perfect. You needed to get this done. So, look, I'll give you a great example. If this was actual resume, you know who deserves to make it? LSU. And I know what you're going to say. 2 losses versus 1.
Actually, I'm not.
Play their schedule. All right?
LSU
Play Alabama on a Saturday night. Have Tennessee come to town. You know, play that schedule. Have to go to your conference championship game, and you don't get to play the Ovaltine All-Stars. You have to play Georgia. This is where I've had enough of the committee, because I don't even know what they do in that room.
No, because here's the thing. Had they not lost the opening week to Florida State, they would be in. That's one where you would say loser is also in as well.
Let me ask you a question, because I see, we've got a caller calling in. And you know what? I won't take it from him. I won't. He's making a point. I want to talk about it and see if you agree with it. Let's sit tight for a second. 248-539-9797. We'll get the people. But Michigan fan, you've heard the audio. And that's not from us. It's, okay, now this is people who talk to committee members, people who are tied in. You want to say Feinbaum's a boner who has it out for Harbaugh. Fine, disregard him. What's Heather Dinich's problem? She's covered the playoffs since its inception.
She hates Michigan, too, by the way, according to Michigan people.
Does she?
No.
I never heard that.
No, that's now because she won't say that Michigan's in if they lose.
Got it. 248-539-9797. Do you accept that? Do you want to argue that? Let's talk.